What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 10 things not to say to British people. Uh-oh. I feel like, at this point, I've said a lot of things. A lot of British people have probably heard these things. I don't know if I've probably said all 10 of these things, given my luck at some point, but from what I can gather about this video we're about to watch, it's things that foreigners say that are irritating or misinformed or something like that. Things not to say to British people because they're gonna think you're kind of like not with it. It's not things like walking up to, not things that everyone would find annoying. You could walk up to anyone on the planet and be like, "Hey, I think your sweater is super ugly and you should go jump in a ditch." That would be something you don't want to say to a British person, but this is more specific. Should be. I don't know if this is going to be entertaining or maybe very serious or a combination of both, but I'm ready. I'm ready to find out the things that I can say to really annoy British people. Maybe this is going to give me some ammunition. No, things not to say to British people.
The first thing that annoys almost all Brits is, are you from London? Because one, the UK is bigger than just London. Secondly, most people in London aren't from London. So,
are you from London? Man, I would never personally ask that just because I think that's a silly question. It's like asking if you run into an American being like, "Are you from New York? You must be from New York City. You are, right?" Now, there are more places in London. There are more places in Britain than London. But I could absolutely see how tourists and people would say this. Just not me. It's not me, I swear. Okay, I get this one.
You never get a yes to that. Well, not never, but you'd very rarely get a yes to that answer because even I've got two friends, I've got more than two friends, but for example, I've got two friends who live near me. Are they from London? They live here. Where are they originally from? Bristol and Ireland. So...
Oh, are you from London? Honestly, if I did ask that question, I think to me that would mean, are you currently living in London right now? Are you from London? But it can be, were you born and raised in London, which is a whole other can of worms. Okay.
Are they from London? And all you're going to do by saying that is annoy people who aren't. And if you're right, then yeah, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm from London. Like, I was born here, blah, blah, blah." And like, that's cool, but like, you're better off just saying, "Where in the UK are you from?"
I don't know if this one is actually that annoying. This would only be annoying if for some reason you're running into a whole bunch of Americans or something wherever you are, and every single one is coming up to you going, "Are you from London?" Then if it happened a bunch of times, I could see it being annoying, but every once in a while, it's fine. You can ask me if I'm from New York or something, or California, and I'll just be like, "Nah, sorry, we don't all live there."
And then they can tell you, and then you don't look ignorant. Yeah? Cool. You're welcome. The second question that annoys Brits is, do you know the Queen? Have you met the Queen? What's the Queen like? Etc. I don't know where this came from.
What? Really? Is this a thing? Well, for one thing, when was this video made? 2 years ago. So obviously Queen Elizabeth has passed away, sadly. But before that, this actually does sound like something people would say, especially Americans. Do you know the Queen? Gosh, the more I think about it, do you know the Queen? What kind of question is that? Like, do you know the president? Do you know the prince? Do you know the prime minister? Like, what? Are you kidding me? Wow, that is probably the silliest question that'll be on this whole list that I can absolutely see somebody asking because they have no idea what they're talking about.
From, like, if you went to America and was like, "Oh, what's Donald Trump like? Have you met Donald Trump?" Like, no one's met him, really. Like, statistically, out of the however hundreds of millions of people are in America, and how many people Donald Trump's actually met. Statistically, not many. The Queen, even more so, because she's under lock and key. She's like so...
I think this this one is particularly bad. This is something you should not say to British people. I agree with this one, especially now. Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh, imagine if someone said that now. They'd be they would really be displaying their lack of awareness of anything that's going on in the world. But when Queen Elizabeth was still alive, when you said that, you're basically admitting you do not understand how anything works in Britain. If you're like, do you know the Queen? Doesn't everyone know the Queen over there?
So heavily protected because of the monarchy, and has been her entire life. So I don't know why people think like you can just go around to her house for tea. I think it can be a bit patronising by assuming that. So best not to ask that. I'm sure there's a more tactful way you could ask, but I'm pretty sure if you've met the Queen, they'll tell you. Like, you won't need to ask. Because like, it never happens, and it's pretty exciting when you do meet her.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's basically the person is saying that the Queen or now king is not very important or have any kind of real stature in society if they think just anyone has met them. Oh yeah, everyone's met that person. Yeah, no big deal. They're basically saying that the king or queen is not a big deal, and they're a big deal.
Imagine, I would love to meet her. I love her so much. But also she's quite old and I'm not anywhere near worth meeting. The next one, I've heard this happens a lot with Americans, and I'll explain why. They'll often say, why is the food so bad? Now, I think that's because food in America tends to be quite sugary. Everything's like sugary and like designed and processed and like...
Oh my gosh. I think it's funny that she's trying to rationalize this and actually make some kind of defense for the Americans who say this. This is just rude. Why is your food so bad? But to be honest, her explanation, her logic is probably not that far off. It's probably because Americans eat a bunch of crap, sugar, like to stimulate our very overworked taste buds. In order to taste anything at this point, it has to have like 7 chocolate donuts blended into it for me to taste it. So this is just plain rude.
Basically engineered to like play off your taste buds. But I just think it's very rude to turn up to someone's house and say, someone's country, and to say everything tastes like rubbish. Like that's just, imagine if you went to someone's house and said that. Like it is so rude.
Except we would not say it tastes like rubbish. We'd say it tastes like garbage, because we don't use the word rubbish.
So obviously, very justifiably, people get defensive. Don't say that. Just like, be more specific, British food isn't as sweet as Americans, or I miss the sugar. Be specific. Because I think generalizations, don't assume, because that makes an arse out of you and me.
True. So far, a lot of these things you should not say to British people are just hopefully things people wouldn't say because of common courtesy. These are just not very polite things to say in normal conversation.
Leading on to that, Americans seem to think it's quite weird that Brits eat beans for breakfast, like baked beans on toast. I think beans are actually an all-day food. You can have them for dinner, breakfast, snack, middle of the night. Beans are all the time. Beans don't have to abide by your laws.
I do find the beans, the bean craze, a little strange, but I am aware it's because I'm American and I don't eat beans, and I happen to personally not really like beans, but, I'd never hold that against a Brit or anything. Go ahead, bean yourself up. I don't care.
I don't know what's so weird about that, to be completely honest, because even if you go to, like, Asian cultures, they eat, like, stir-fry for breakfast, and I can't, like... There's just something in my head that's like, I can't handle this flavour this early in the morning. But like, power to you for eating fried rice at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And I know if you go to South America, or Latin America, it's like rice and beans are like the national food and breakfast food and that. So it's very much a westernized thing a Western thing of having like just bacon and eggs and toast and like limiting the breakfast foods.
And cereal, yes. Americans have a very, very, very narrow, very specific idea of what is acceptable for breakfast. It's only very particular things. That's the law.
I don't think there's that just like line in the sand in like most other cultures that say like you could only eat this food before this time. It is quite
Right.
weird. And I almost feel like British food doesn't really fall into that because like you could have bacon for dinner, you could have beans for dinner, you could have eggs for dinner. What else? Sausages you could definitely have for dinner. So if you take a fry up,
Huh. I never really thought of it like that. Yeah. Those are foods that would be strange to eat for dinner in America. I've never had like a sausage for dinner or eggs for dinner or bacon ever in my life. Wow. It's really getting me thinking.
all the elements you could have at any other time of the day, just together is considered a breakfast thing. So, but in America, you wouldn't really have like pancakes or scrambled eggs for dinner. Like they seem to segregate their food more.
I guess. Yeah, pancakes for dinner is like a silly, fun little silly event sometimes we do in America. Like breakfast for dinner is what we call it.
Interesting. I don't know why. You tell me. Why do you like tea so much? I don't know the answer to this, but I've noticed Brits get annoyed by it.
It's funny. It's funny because a lot of these questions are actual questions that I have had. So she's spot on with a lot of these. I would just, why do you like tea so much? What a way to say it. Why do you like tea so much? You have to get a little angry when you say it, like, how dare you? How dare you like tea?
I think maybe because if you're British and you don't like tea, I think you're reminded constantly. Because everyone's like, what? You don't have tea? Because I don't drink coffee. And I often, in Australia, who are very much coffee snobs, everyone's always like, oh my God, you don't drink coffee? Oh my God. And then I have to put up with that. So I imagine it's the same with tea here. But I've just like learnt to drink tea because like I can't go to these like office meetings and just be drinking hot chocolate like a child. So I was like, I need.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know if there's anything like that in the United States. People are obsessed with coffee, don't get me wrong. But no one would ever really be saying, oh, you don't like coffee? That's so weird. That's so quirky. You don't like coffee? No one would really care. The tea, if you drank tea in America, people would just think you're really civilized and like very upper class, very proper. Drinking some tea, wow. That's a real luxury.
I need to look more mature and have a tea. But I don't drink coffee. So I think people who don't drink tea get very angry if you assume they do. I don't even know why because I could say, oh, the weather's, a bit cozier, so you want a warm drink. But like, there's other cold places in the world that aren't as obsessed with tea, like.
True. Also, I feel like you could ask several of these questions, like about tea and about breakfast, and most British people would not actually get angry at you. Maybe internally they would think some things about you, or maybe they'd tell you externally exactly what they think of you. But I don't think anyone would seriously get mad over these things. Maybe the have you met the Queen thing. But some of these are just showing that you're a bit ignorant, but if it's all in good fun, if you're friends, they'll be like, it's okay, little American. No, I don't drink tea 24 hours a day. Thanks for asking, though.
Canada is colder than the UK and like north half of America, north half of North America. Do you know what I mean? Like in New York, Wisconsin, those places, Chicago, they're all very cold, but they're not as tea driven. So I don't know what it is, but don't question it. They come for you. I'm just warning you.
Okay.
This one's my favorite. If you don't ask a Brit person why are you so polite, because they'll just get confused, because Brits can be quite rude, but like sarcastically, which I love because it's like so sass and it's the best.
Huh.
So, but I did a video not long ago about like what Brits really mean.
Why are you so polite? Why would you ever ask someone, why are you so polite? Why are you so polite? Unless you're trying to sort of tick them off or something.
Just that entire video. Watch that. That's what that question means. It's like, they'll say like, not bad is good and quite good is bad. So if you think, oh, they're so polite, they say everything's like quite good, they're saying everything's rubbish.
Yeah, maybe they're not even that nice and you don't even know it because you don't understand the lingo.
You know, so a lot of that, or like thanks, and then they'll like drop their face when you turn around, or it's like just so passive aggressive. So
Oh boy.
if you speak Brit, you'll realize it's not as polite as assumed. I will say you're all good drivers, and I don't care who in the comments argues with me, but everyone in England, England, no, everyone in Britain, because I have driven in Scotland and Wales, is fantastic drivers.
Really? That's very random. Okay.
Everyone's so lovely. The only people who are not, and I'm so sorry, you probably
Americans are terrible at driving, by the way. I just had to get that out there. Terrible. My goodness. It is a whole event driving from place to place. You are never bored.
we're getting comfy in the comments. Van drivers, like a white van driver, always wild card no matter what country you're in. Australia, America, the UK, white van drivers make their own rules and you just stay away. The next one is, why do British people like to queue so much? Once again, I don't know the answer to that, but I love that they do. Cause
Like to queue? Why do British people like to queue? What does that mean? Form a queue? Like, form a line? Do British people really like to form lines? Like, wait in queues? I hope she clarifies, actually, this.
I'm a very like reserved, quiet person. I literally make videos on my own. I'm introverted, so like if you push in front of me, I'm not gonna like call you out, but oh man, me in a Disneyland or like a theme park, oh, I get like if you try and push in, I'm not having it.
Okay. It sounds like she is talking about getting in line, which is good. That's very civilized. 'Cause nobody likes someone trying to cut in line or be weird about that. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
But I won't say anything. Never. I'm British on the inside, I promise. Like I'll stand there with my foot jutted out, like just in front of them, like well, I was here, as you can see, left, and then you slowly shift your weight onto that leg, and then you get in front of them. Or if you have a handbag, real good. Recommend a handbag because then you can just like use your handbag to like bash them back. So great. And then if they say anything, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. How did this happen? This is why people think Brits are so polite, but really it's all
Wow. So a lot of passive aggressiveness. But you know, if someone's cutting you in line, you have full permission to use whatever tricks you want on them at that point.
strategy. And I'm just like it. I'm all in. Gotta respect the line. Gotta respect the queue. Everyone gets their turn. You take it. You stand in the line and you wait. And patience is a virtue. And I love British people for it. I don't have any time for people who don't respect a queue.
Yep, I agree.
Why does everyone love Mary Berry? I feel like Mary Berry is everyone's grandmother.
Mary Berry. Mary Berry. All right, I have to whip out Google for this one. Mary Berry? Oh, am I typing? There we go. Dishcloth. Are we talking about a dishcloth? No. A food writer. Oh, an English food writer. Huh. English food writer, chef, baker, television presenter? Okay. So, kind of like Martha Stewart of England? So she's just a really nice food personality, basically. Like a mother figure sort of thing. Does everyone like Mary Berry? I've never heard of her.
I don't have any grandmas anymore, unfortunately. So I think Mary Berry is my surrogate grandma. And I think because she was on Bake Off for so long, which obviously she's not now. And to be honest, I don't like Prue as a replacement. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but just Mary Berry had such big shoes to fill.
Okay.
That I don't know if anyone even could have. So Prue was kind of set up to fail. And then she's just known for her like soggy bottom and like not her soggy bottom.
Soggy bottom. Soggy bottom? Wet bottom? What? We're getting into territory where I really don't understand what's being said, even.
And then she's just known for her like soggy bottom and like not her soggy bottom. That's weird. Cakes with a soggy bottom, and she's just so sweet and kind and lovely, and she just seems like the nicest. And I don't think there's a person who wouldn't want her as a grandma. She's so cute. I think she's like the Queen, but a bit more personable. Like, we all love the Queen, but there is definitely, like, you don't know.
Wait, wasn't the question at the beginning, why do you all like Mary Berry? Because it sounds like she's saying that that's true.
Love Mary Berry. Why does everyone love Mary Berry?
Wait, how is that something you should never say? That's not annoying, because it sounds like everyone loves Mary Berry. Wouldn't all the Brits be really happy to explain to you exactly why they love Mary Berry? Yeah, this one seems like it might be okay.
Whereas Mary Berry, oh my gosh, one, her name is amazing. Secondly, she has a bit more of a connection with the audience just because of, you know, society, and like she's not a royal, so makes it a bit easier. Okay. So I think people associate her as like the Queen. They take their affection for the Queen and put it on her. Same with David Attenborough. Absolute national treasures. I don't want to live in a world where they don't exist. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, when they pass, we need to have like a week of mourning as a country. Like, they're amazing. David Attenborough, what a guy. I love him so much. Blue Planet's like the only thing I watch on BBC. I'm basically paying the license just for that show. Last but not least, but you said you were fine. If a British person says they're fine or it's the opposite of fine. It's the worst thing that's ever happened.
I mean, this is even something that you would experience from an American. This is just being able to read the room, read a person, understand context. If they say they're fine and they don't look particularly fine, then you should not later on be like, what's wrong with you? You said you were fine. That is a surefire way to piss someone off.
So if you're like, oh, you're fine to take this meeting with this client that's awful and everyone hates, yeah, it's fine. And then they get annoyed and, you know, put salt in your coffee or salt in your tea or something. And then, but you said you were fine. Obviously they weren't fine. It's just like a way to be polite and get on with it, you know? Classic British. Just smile, get on with it. Just, yeah, it's fine, whatever, I'll deal with it later.
Okay.
But you can't help them for having their feelings. Everyone should talk about their feelings more. I feel like the world would be a better place. Hopefully this video helped you if you are moving to the UK or visiting the UK for the first time. Don't have a faux pas and say any of these things to British people, because you'll either be accosted and people will tell you off, or you'll be witness to some beautiful British sarcasm and dry wit when they insult you.
Right.
So give this video a thumbs up if you agree and you're British and you do anything.
Okay. That's pretty much the end of the list. That was good. That was good. Entertaining as well. This was by Vets Vibes, if I'm saying that right. And I liked it. I give it a like. Those were mostly pretty good. A couple of them I don't think were too serious. I don't think you'd actually offend someone. Some of them were legit, though. Do the comments say anything? The queuing thing is not just about us liking things, to be orderly and fair. Okay. If the insulting people without them realizing it is almost a national sport. Oh, geez. I love doing it to Americans. No, please. Please don't. I won't know that you're insulting me. This guy likes the food. Oh yeah, that was one of the things as well. Why is your food so bad? Are you kidding me? If someone actually said these things, I'm sure they do. I'm sure someone somewhere is saying these things. But oh man, imagine if they said all 10 of these things in a row. Just watched this video, went up to a Brit and said all 10. They would get the nastiest and politest onslaught of passive aggressiveness that has ever been seen. Anyway, I enjoyed this. This was actually quite interesting for me. And a couple of these were pretty new to me, which is great. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain, the UK, culture there, stuff there that I've never seen or heard before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching. and see you next time.